My boss forced me to resign through deception. I left quietly, but I had evidence that could prove who was truly responsible for the mistake. Just sign this, and it will make things easier for everyone. My boss said those words the day he forced me to sign a resignation letter I had never written myself. He was certain that I would give in under pressure, leave quietly, and no one would ever discover who was truly responsible. But he had no idea that I had preserved evidence that could one day change the entire truth. Even now, sometimes at 3 a.m. when my suburban home is completely silent, streetlights shine through the curtains and create patterns on the floor. The soft sound of the refrigerator keeps me company in the dark kitchen, and a late-night TV show plays in the background that I'm hearing but not really watching. I remember that day. I often have a cup of coffee in my hands, but the coffee has already gone cold. Strange, isn't it? Sometimes things remain in our hands but we stop paying attention to them. Maybe that is exactly what happens when people stop noticing our presence. I spent many nights without sleep. Sometimes I thought about sleeping pills, sometimes the name Ambien crossed my mind, just hoping the endless voices in my head would become quiet for a while. But with time, I understood that my pain was not only about what happened to me. The deeper pain was realizing that a place where I had given so many years of my life had turned me into a character in someone else's story. I had worked at that company for nearly 14 years. When I first joined, it was a small company in Seattle. A few employees, a small office, and a huge dream. I never saw it as just a job. I saw it as a part of myself. I remember the nights when the office lights stayed on until morning, when everyone else had gone home and I sat alone finishing reports. I remember the days when I sacrificed time with my family to save an important client. I remember the moments when I treated the company's problems as my own and worked until they were solved. But maybe that is the reality of success. When things are going well, people often forget who made sure everything kept working and how many sacrifices were made behind the scenes. My life was not only about the office. I was a mother, a wife, and an ordinary American woman. I considered Sunday Costco trips a family tradition. I smiled through Thanksgiving dinners with everyone even when I was exhausted inside. I attended PTA meetings trying to be the perfect mom, and sometimes while looking at my 401k and retirement plans, I wondered if we were so busy building the future that we forgot to experience the present. My boss, David, recognized my hard work in the beginning. He knew I had helped the company through some of its most difficult times. He often said, "You are one of those people we can rely on when things get difficult." But time changes everything. New investors arrived, new leadership came in, and slowly my loyalty was no longer seen as dedication. It was seen as something expected. Then that day came. There was a meeting at the Portland office. Light rain was falling outside, people were rushing past the glass building, everyone in the conference room was looking at their screens and Starbucks cups were sitting on the table. David closed some files and looked at me. "We need to make some changes." I stayed silent. Then he started talking about my performance. He said my thinking might no longer match the company's pace, that I was too attached to old methods, and that maybe I needed to move in a different direction. I listened. Then he said the sentence I still remember today. "I think it would be better for you to resign on your own." The room became silent. Some people looked down. Others sat there as if they could not hear what was happening. I understood immediately that this was not just a decision. It was a plan. They wanted me to sign so later they could say I left by my own choice. They thought I was weak. They thought I would become afraid. But I simply took a deep breath and said, "I'll think about it." I did not fight immediately. Because sometimes the strongest move is staying silent. I went home, sat in my kitchen, listened to the sound of my coffee machine and thought for a long time. Then I remembered. The file. The evidence I had protected for years. Years earlier, the company had started a major project. I was involved in every stage. I had preserved contracts, emails, approvals, and internal communications because I knew some decisions could become questions in the future. Later, important changes were made, some responsibilities were shifted to other people, and some decisions were presented differently. But I still had the original records. I never kept them to harm anyone. I kept them because I knew the truth sometimes takes time to reveal itself. A few weeks later, a problem appeared inside the company. A major client was unhappy, a project was failing, and management had to explain where things went wrong. Then they found what they had ignored. The original truth. I was called back. This time the atmosphere was different. I sat in the conference room. The same people were there, but the confidence in their voices was gone. David quietly said, We need your help understanding what really happened. I opened my file. I did not blame anyone. I did not embarrass anyone. I simply placed the documents on the table. Every email, every approval, every record told the same story. The room was silent. As the story had changed. The people who thought I would quietly disappear were now facing the truth they had tried to avoid. That day I learned that not every battle needs to be fought immediately. Some battles reveal their answers with time. A few months later I left the company, but this time it was not because someone pressured me. It was my choice. I started a new chapter of my life, somewhere my hard work was not considered a burden but valued as experience. When I look back today, I do not feel happy that they faced difficulties. I feel peace because I never lost my dignity. My greatest answer was never noise. It was patience, preparation, and the belief that truth always finds its place eventually. Morning light began spreading outside, the TV was turned off, and for the first time in months I felt completely calm. I closed my eyes. And I realized that sometimes doors close only because they are leading us toward a better path. A new day. A new life. A new me. Thank you for staying with this story until the end. If you enjoyed it and found its message inspiring, please support us by giving this video a like and subscribing to our channel for more powerful stories. Your support means a lot to us and we truly appreciate you being part of our community.